Hi, welcome back to the Boundless Love of God. We're looking at the book of Hosea in this study, and this is episode 3 of that. We're calling it Love Has a Price in this episode.
Ooh.
We've kind of journeyed through the first 2 chapters. We saw that there was this radical plot twist in chapter 2, and now we come to chapter 3, which is the shortest chapter of the book. And here God asks the prophet Hosea to preach a painful action sermon. Hosea is a brokenhearted preacher. His wife Gomer has decided to leave home and has gone back into a life of prostitution. He doesn't know what to do. He loves her, right? Yet she's gone away, and he hears the report that she's gone progressively downward and downward and downward. She's gotten more and more into the life and the brokenness of that. He now hears that she has hit the bottom and he's lost track of her, like he can't even find her. He doesn't really know where she is. And in addition to that, he's now faced with the responsibility of being a father and a mother to the children, which 2 of which probably weren't even his. And every morning he gets up early and he gets them ready for life, right? In our world, for school. He gives them breakfast. He loads them up in the station wagon of life, and he carries them into the school, and then he goes on with his responsibilities for the day. And then he picks them up and he cares for them, takes them home, he helps them with their homework, does the parent thing, right?
Yeah.
Gets them bathed and puts them to bed, and totally exhausted, Hosea the preacher goes to bed himself, and he cries himself to sleep over his wayward prodigal wife.
Oh
So
my
that's
gosh,
where we
it's
come to
heartbreaking.
in this text.
So this is Hosea chapter 3. Then God ordered me, start all over. Love your wife again. Your wife who's in bed with her latest boyfriend, your cheating wife. Love her the way I, God, love the Israelite people, even as they flirt and party with every god that takes their fancy. I did it. I paid good money to get her back. It cost me the price of a slave. Then I told her, from now on, you're living with me. No more whoring, no more sleeping around. You're living with me, and I'm living with you. The people of Israel are going to live a long time stripped of security and protection, without religion and comfort, godless and prayerless. But in time, they'll come back, these Israelites. Come back looking for their God and for their David king. They'll come back chastened to reverence before God and his good gifts, ready for the end of the story of his love. There's a lot of lines we could draw in this passage. But I think that is how compelling the love of God is, that in time, we all come back.
Because he doesn't give up, right? Like, you think about, what other love do we know that will just wait you out? Like, consistency and consistently wait you out.
This is why Americans love dogs.
It's why
Because
all
dogs,
people love dogs.
It really is.
Have you ever heard the stupid joke about the difference between a wife and a dog? That you can lock your dog in the trunk and he's happy to see you when you open it up, or something like that. It's a horrible joke.
No, can we just stop for a second? Don't ever tell that joke again. That is a horrible joke.
No, it is a horrible
There's
joke.
so much wrong with that joke, everyone.
Everything's wrong with that joke.
We don't have enough episodes to go
Everything.
through it.
I know. I agree with you. I'm using it as an example. Like, this is our cultural, this is a cultural thing that we say.
Yeah.
Because we know how much dogs love us.
Right.
Right.
I don't know. Yes.
I don't agree with it. I would never lock my wife in my trunk, and I would die if I did.
Oh my gosh.
But, that's the kind of love that God has for you.
Yeah.
Right? That you can put God to the side. You can put all construct of divine relationship aside and do whatever you want to do, and God's going to still be there.
And there are many theologians that say, because you could think to yourself, well, I know people that never went back to God in their life. They never went back. And there are many theologians that would say, that's part of what the afterlife is about, is that even if you never turned back, I never turned back, that God God's love is not bound by death, and that God will draw us into love after death.
Right. This
if that's what it
so
takes.
this is great divorce,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the whole point. Is like every day there's a train
Yep.
that comes by, or a bus. I don't remember what it is in the book, but you get the opportunity to come be with God at any point you want. The train's running,
Yep.
and you can move further and further away from the train station. That's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
But the train isn't going to be less consistent and less clear about, nope, your road to divine relationship is always there, whether it's in this life or life to come. That, again, if we believe that nothing can separate us from God's love, then death can't separate us from God's love either, right? That's
death nor life, nor angels nor demons.
right?
No,
That's
yep.
the whole point of the resurrection, is that the one thing that could previously separate you from God, meaning
is
death,
rendered powerless.
doesn't win.
Yeah.
Like that's the beauty of that's the culmination of this story, right? Like if you think about Hosea lived into the life of Jesus, that's what that part of the Jesus story is about, is that he even beat that. So
This is the part of the story that I think gets cut off with a lot of these prophets. That people get distracted by the beginning of these prophetic books with God, just sort of saying, there's
you're a
going to be
whorehouse.
judgment.
Right.
And and things are going badly. And the ends of these stories are always about ending up coming back to love.
yeah. Yeah, it really, again, one of my dreams is to someday use the book of Hosea to Advent.
Oh.
Because Advent often, like Lent and Advent, we often take on some prophetic texts in those spaces, usually Isaiah talking about the coming of Jesus, that sort of stuff. But I love this love story in a way that tells the love story of Christmas as well. It's, it just keeps coming back. Part of what is beautiful about the story is repetition of it.
Yeah.
We're only on chapter 3, and we've already repeated God's love 3 times.
Yeah.
Chapter 1, he won't end without telling you that he's going to be there. Chapter 2, he doesn't end without telling you he's going to be there. Chapter 3 doesn't end without telling you he's not going to run away.
Yeah.
It's really a profound, and for people who say, right, that God was all judgment in the Hebrew Bible or the Hebrew text and all love in the New Testament, have not read Hosea.
That's right.
Right? Have not read many of the prophets, because so many of them are about God pursuing his people with love.
Yeah. And have lost sight of the grand story. I mean,
Yeah.
they have. They've kind of gotten too into some of the little details, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a short week, but the whole idea is that that God loves you, he's not going to leave you, not going to forsake you.
Or your children who maybe you're estranged from, or your parents who you're estranged from, or fill in the blank with all the people that we feel brokenhearted about being separated from, or brokenhearted about their actions, God will not stop loving them either.
Yeah.
And that is comforting if you're in a situation right now where you feel like you are unable to affect someone.
Yeah.
God is there.
Will not leave them either. Mm-hmm. Thanks be to God on that.
Yes.
So go in peace. Have a good week.